It's week 13. It's also Thanksgiving week. So hopefully this entire week you spend time with your family. You're able to celebrate and watch football and eat a lot of food. But for fantasy football, we still got work to do. So today it's simple. We got week 13 waivers. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Let's kick it off here really with just Pittsburgh Steelers players. And of course we have others at the end of the video. But starting with Mr. Unlimited in Russell Wilson. And he's kind of been just that. Since week 7, when he took over, he's been the quarterback 12 on the year, giving us just about 16 fantasy points a game. So he's definitely been a serviceable to good quarterback here on a weekly basis. But the reason I like him and the next player is because of their upcoming schedule. They have Cincinnati, which is the 4th best matchup for quarterbacks. Baltimore, which is the 9th best quarterback for matchups the next 2 weeks. Now, again, to close out the year, they also have Kansas City on their schedule. On paper, a great defense, but for fantasy, they're a top 10 matchup for quarterbacks, and Russell Wilson, of course, should be able to give us reliable production down the stretch of the year. Now, for his teammate in Pat Freiermuth, this is a guy that is owned in about 52% of Yahoo leagues, so he might not be there, but we have another tight end for you Yahoo players in just a moment. But last week, 4 receptions, 60 yards on 6 different targets, so the volume is there for Pat Freiermuth, and this is why I like him as well. Next 2 weeks, 3rd best matchup and the 7th best matchup. Now, he does have I think week 16 there is a little bit questionable, week 15, but to close out the year, the last 2 weeks of the year, he has a top 10 matchup against Baltimore and a top 5 matchup against Kansas City. So favorable matchups the next 2 weeks to get you into the playoffs. And of course, to end off the year for our fantasy championships, he has some favorable matchups as well. So the volume is there and great matchups. It seems like a great pairing. But some other options here if you don't want to go after those Pittsburgh Steelers. Caleb Williams, he's finally arrived. It seems like he has so many great weapons around him. And if this team wants any shot of making a surprise playoff run, it seems like they're going to have to air the ball out, rely on Caleb's arm. So we like him there. Alexander Madison. Yes, I know that Amir Abdullah just had a crazy week for the Las Vegas Raiders, but Alexander Madison, when he's healthy, there's been no signs that it hasn't been his backfield this year. So when he returns to the lineup, if he's on your waivers, go after him. I think he gets a lot of volume. At the receiver position, Demario Douglas, we like him. Of course, consistently, he's not having explosive weeks, but he's having steady weeks. And I think at this point in the year, we want to pick up players that we aren't necessarily boom or bust. We want to pick up players that are steady, and we know what we're going to get, especially with some of these key bye weeks coming up. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, he's just a touchdown machine. It doesn't matter if it's Will Levis, Mason Rudolph, or me and you at quarterback. It seems like he's going to have a big play touchdown on a given week. And I think he's had 6 touchdowns in the last 6 weeks. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is a touchdown machine. Another receiver is David Moore. Now, this is a guy that I want you to grab him and stash him because this is a guy that last week came out of nowhere, right, with 10 targets, 6 receptions, and I think 70 yards through the air. For the Carolina Panthers, that offense is getting going in the right direction, and David Moore seems to be a pivotal part of that now that Bryce Young is more comfortable than ever. We talked about Freiermuth. Noah Gray, I mean, dude, last week, this dude came out of nowhere, right? Had like 4 receptions, 60 yards, and a touchdown. And then this past week, he had 2 touchdowns with an even better stat line. Noah Gray for the Kansas City Chiefs, I guess, is going to be the secondary option in the pass game in this offense going forward, because the team's really hone in on DeAndre Hopkins and Xavier Worthy. So it's Travis Kelce and Noah Gray, and Noah Gray seems to be producing. So at the bare minimum, grab him and stash him, keep him away from your league mates. Will Lutz for Denver. This is an offense that is good, far from great. So they get in position often, but they have to kick a lot of field goals. They're kind of just like the Pittsburgh Steelers. But of course, Chris Boswell is nowhere near the waivers at this point in the season. So let's go after him if you need a kicker these next couple of weeks. He's also got a very favorable schedule for the kicker position. Now, defense, obviously, typo there. If you need a defense, I'll list some in the comments that I like this week that are available in most leagues. But that's going to do it. If you enjoy, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and be on the lookout for the comments. Or, hey, if you have any questions about your lineup or you just want a second opinion, I'm here for you. Drop it in the comments, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. If not, go enjoy Thanksgiving week of football.